Okay, guys, we are live! So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon muser today. And today we are carrying on with our ongoing campaign playing Paizo Publishing's outstanding Pathfinder 2nd Edition fantasy RPG in our custom setting of the Spires of Paridar, a combination of occult conspiracy, Coalpunk, disparity, and mystery. With me today are the stars of the Spires of Paridar campaign. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing? First up, we've got James.
Right, yes, I'm James, and I am playing Sally Dumer, the deep scale Azar-Katie monk detective.
Very nice. Next up is Ingolf.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ingolf. I'm playing Basil Rathbone, who is an Isoki investigator, detective, whatever. So he will investigate stuff, at least.
Nice. And last but certainly not least is Darren.
Darren here. I'm playing Dr. Adam Ersprung, who is a created flesh warp inventor with his trusty sidekick, Igor.
Nice. Now, for those listening at home, if we do have... we are hopeful that we're not going to have any... issues with the audio today. OBS pushed through an update yesterday, or at least I installed the update yesterday, and we spent the first 45 minutes of the session trying to figure out how to fix this thing. So we think we've got it fixed right now. If the audio is off today, I do apologize. We'll fix it between now and the next session, but I'm hopeful that we got things sorted out. So, I mean, it's a very steampunk thing for the mechanics to go wrong, so I suppose the OBS is just trying to be thematic for the setting, but I think we could have gone without that today. But, guys, what happened? This finds us, I believe, on the cusp of you all attending a fundraising soiree. But what happened last time, before we turn to that happy event?
Last time we joined it with our little friendly discussion with the halfling reporter. I believe Sally got her hands on him first, and he was quite resilient to our negotiating with him, and in the end I think we decided to let him go, thinking that he's gonna do his reports, whatever he wants to say. Luckily we managed to take the footage from the cameras. I think Basil managed to swipe the film from the cameras, so they've got no photographic evidence. Basil and Sally went to speak to Annabelle to try and see if we could potentially do a news report before the dodgy report came out, but I think she decided that it would probably be best to leave them to carry on, and we can either dispute it or just let it go, I think, really. So we're waiting to see what happens with the report coming out. Mm-hmm. We found out that the corpsemen were the ones that had actually delivered these crates of these sort of reanimated things, patch monsters. We did quite a lot of discussing about theories on what's going on. Then I went to see the coroner with the bodies. We cut them open, spent a lot of time investigating, and found a very disturbing message sort of written on most of the organs of these creatures. It just had the two words "Hello, brother" written on all the organs of these patchwork creatures. So I took, we incinerated the bodies, but I took a lot of pictures or drawings, reported back to the rest of the team. And yeah, quite a lot of discussion was had, but unfortunately we've got no further along our investigation as of yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have some more clues. So Basil has been given a note with the address of some crossing from Annabelle Carrington.
Oh yeah.
And also you found in the morgue that in one of the heads there was some kind of receiver implanted into the brain.
Yeah, I think they all had them actually, a transmitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, to sort of turn them on.
Yeah. So
Anything else
there
of
might
interest?
be.
Anything else of interest?
We haven't been to that address yet, have we?
No.
You got no.
No.
I think that was where we was sort of left it, where we were deciding whether we should go that evening or not.
Yeah, I lost a bit the tracking of the time. I don't know if we can manage to go there before the this thing begins. So I'm
This
not
is
sure.
the night before, if I'm.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
do have a
right.
day before the actual event, so.
So we will arrive bloodied as always when the charity event goes on. So yeah.
Remind me, so how is it that you repair your construct? I don't think it heals on its own, right?
It doesn't. No, I think I have to do a crafting test as if it was the same as a medicine test.
Okay.
I just haven't got around to it, but I will. I've got a chance. I'll give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it needs the same sort of success. 31.
Holy smokes!
I think that is 48.
Nice.
If it's the same as.
I think so. We'll treat it as such for now. I'm just looking it up right now about. Let's see here.
So was it challenge based? So was it 15 or 20 the DC?
Well, 20 is 2d8 plus 10, and then if you get a critical success, it's 4d8. So I think that's.
Okay.
What,
But
doesn't
you
it go
should
up
get
with
the
your
plus 10?
Yeah, because of aren't you an expert crafter?
Do you still get the plus 10, do you?
I think so, because that I believe is a function of your level of training.
Oh,
Let's take a
okay.
look here.
I might have the battle medicine written down wrong then.
No, it could very well be correct. Here we go. So this is first aid. Here.
Because I always just do, for battle medicine, I always just do the guaranteed 20, which is 2d8 plus 10.
Yeah, so here it is. If you're an expert in medicine, you can attempt it at a DC 20 check to increase the hit points regained by 10.
Yeah. So you would add 10, so it's 28.
Yeah. And then I'm just trying to see here. Critical success. So you gain 4d8 plus 10, assuming you're rolling against a 20.
Yeah.
And then try to see if it's doubled on a crit. Yeah, so on a crit fail, it increases, but on a crit success, it just gives you an extra 2d8. So.
Oh, so it should be plus 10.
Okay, so that would have been 28 your heal, so he's pretty much back to normal with you. Bang some stuff around. He's effectively my first car. You just need to kick the door a little bit and it'll get back in, and it'll be fine. Okay, so then, yeah, I believe we left ourselves. Let's see, what was the last? It was an underworld check by Basil. Do you remember what you were looking for that? I can't remember what our last batch of skill checks were.
Yeah, I just don't really know. So I was looking for someone to have a look at Adam's surroundings, but I don't think that Underworld Lord check was for that. I'm not sure.
Wasn't
I
related
think
to
it was
I-
hat searching.
No, but no, that wasn't the headshot searching. No. We wanted to have some kind of gang or someone who gives us some kind of information if some, I don't know, suspicious people are around the clinic, so that we wouldn't get surprised again.
Right, okay, so you were trying to... Yeah, so I think that you had successfully tracked down someone, but you have yet to identify it or contact them. Does that sound right? I don't see a diplomacy check here. So... All right, so you would have one day before the... what do you call it? Before the the actual, like, you have a day's worth of time before the actual charity event, but you will have things that you have to do in the afternoon. So it's likely that you're going to have maybe the early, earlier part of the day and the early afternoon to get ready. But otherwise, you'll have to be spending that time getting ready, make sure everything's set up at Miss not Mrs. Carrington. What's her name?
Is it Daphne?
Lagrange, right? Mademoiselle Lagrange. So, you would all get a good night's sleep, I suppose, in the clinic, the Barrowhead Clinic or Barrowhead Mission. Is there anything you guys wish to do during the day before the event?
Yeah. Do you want to go to the crossing, Adam?
It was Annabelle, wasn't it? That gave you the note, Annabelle.
Yeah, I think it's a lead to the to this TikTok killer.
Right. So it might be after the event.
Yeah. I
think we were disputing whether to go in the daytime or the nighttime was the other sort of question. Yeah. If it was a sort of just go and have a look, or if we were trying to sort of get into the address, the premises. I mean, we could definitely go and have a look what was there.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, we could just
walk past or
have a look and then walk past it or so. Yeah. Not staying there all the time looking suspicious, but just walking around the corner.
The only other thing I wanted to do with something the other doctor had suggested, that getting the church involved. Is anyone from the church invited to the charity event? Do we know?
Would you have invented an invite? They don't generally have money to go to give away.
Yeah, no, just sort of a presence rather than.
Hold on, no. The Church of the Heavenly Host would have. They would have money. What am I talking about? Of course, they'd have money. Whether they would invest in this though, I don't know.
I was thinking more of someone like Father Rush Bowditch, the guy who had sort of been helping out when we did the temporary sort of setup of helping the sick and that. I wanted to invite him to see if he could sort of spread the word that the clinic's reopening, and if anyone goes to his church, that we're there.
And maybe you want to thank him for his kind offer to use the church as temporary and so ever.
Yeah. Just be on the good side with him, and hopefully he'll spread good word. Because it was the new doctor that's joined me. What was his name?
Dr. Risewell, I believe.
Yeah, Risewell. He suggested that maybe getting the church on board may be able to help us to get a good name around town. So that was the only other thing I was thinking of doing.
Okay. Then, Ms. Dumer, anything you wish to do during the day before the big soiree?
No, I'll spend the day in a scented bathtub, submerged.
All right. Then, is there anything else? I guess which thing do we want to do first?
Well, we could go and have a look at the address, shall we? Have a little walk past.
Okay. Let's head over to. All right.
And then Sally can retire to a bathtub after that.
For a good soak. Row houses. Let's see here. Let's use maybe this here. Get rid of everyone other than you folks. Okay, let me bring you over here. Now, what you find is that this address is found, like I said, in a working class neighborhood. This is where factory workers would be working in. Assuming that you guys went after breakfast, then you'd be arriving shortly after everyone has made their way to or at least the working folks, the men and women who would have been gone. They're off to the work, so it's mostly like, you know, kids playing in the street, or mothers and their kids, or, you know, fathers and their kids leaving to go. There's, you know, one or two injured guys who are sitting outside with their kids. The kids, the way they're reacting, seem to be treating it as if it's a bit of an event. But when you get to this, there's sort of like, it's a bit of a, for one, it's a basement suite that seems to be under one of these buildings. And it seems to be, like you see in the illustration, kind of back at the end of an alleyway. So it's sort of like it's almost like this is the building or the room that sort of was tacked on as an afterthought, where there was some extra space, or perhaps it was intended to be storage, but, you know, by needs of the community, it became a living quarters. But that appears to be the place that it honestly looks like it could be just a root cellar, if it was not for the wooden numbers that have been kind of attached to a plaque outside of the residence.
Honestly, just don't we... so I would like to just sneak around the corner in the end of the alley.
Yeah.
You want to wait here?
Yeah, I'll wait here. Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and give us a stealth check there, please, Basil.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. But that's maybe not good enough. Oh.
You want to hero point that?
Yeah. Yes. This I couldn't have rolled much worse. A little bit, but not much. Yeah, that's better.
There you go. All right. So, you inconspicuously make your way down, and you're pretty much hidden. It's daytime, so, you know, there's not a lot of shadows necessarily to hide in, but fortunately there's a lot of overhangs, and there's, you know, stairs that lead up into places you can kind of duck under. What you can see is that there is one main entrance here that seems to go into this, and if you scooch around the corner, you can see it looks like there is almost like storm doors, or not called storm doors, but like the kind of doors you'd see as an entrance to a cellar. They seem to be locked up, but this, in all likelihood, leads down into it. So it looks like there's a door leading in here. Then there is also kind of the place you would use in the alleyway to sort of load up a cellar. You know, throw two big doors open so you can easily access the place, then close them up, lock them up. And then that's easier to access the cellar from outside than having to traipse through the house.
And they're locked, so with a normal lock. So I could,
appears to be, yeah.
Interesting.
You can give us a thievery check if you like.
Yeah, just try. I mean, come on, it's not...
Well, I just want to see. This is just seeing something. You're not having to do anything just yet.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just double check.
19.
Let's see here. You guys are level 5 now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing unusual about that lock.
Yeah, I mean, if someone places a normal lock on such a cellar, I mean, it's basically an invitation to try to open it. I think it's just polite for the normal thieves to have a lock.
Yeah.
To have some kind of challenge. So I would just try to open it. Come on.
Sure.
What
Let
could
me,
go
so it's
wrong?
gonna be a secret roll. What is your bonus? Is plus 13.
Yes.
So you start going into this lock, and you begin to start making your fiddle around with it, and there's two things you notice. For one, this is not actually a lock. It's some kind of dummy device that just has the appearance of it, but it doesn't actually seal. This is something that seems to be a mechanism that would fall apart. It's fairly advanced as well. I don't think you have enough skill in crafting to really fully appreciate it, but what you do appreciate is when there's a trap on a lock. So would you kindly give us a reflex save, please?
Yeah. So I just remember that I have taken this feat that if something goes wrong with theory, I get a +2 to reflex saving throws.
Okay.
That's I know myself. So
Okay, go ahead.
So I will add a 2. So this is with +2, 24.
Okay, so you get away, and what you see, there's little sparks that come off of this thing before you before it can contact you. That would have left you with some pretty singed fur if it had gone off. There's a little and in fact, like once it falls back down, you notice, and you didn't see it before, but there is like little bits of scouring on the outside of scoring on the outside, as if this kind of little arc has gone off on this metal door before.
Yeah, okay. I think I would go back.
Yeah, you need not make any roll to realize that's very unusual for this neighborhood. People generally don't have, electrified fake locks to keep themselves safe.
Yeah, I think that's more. That's more something for Adam or Igor or so. I would just go back, sneak back, and then join up with the rest.
Okay. So, Basil, likewise, it seems to appear out of nowhere. Sally and Dr. Earthsprung, what are you guys talking about while you're waiting for Basil? You can picture you're sitting in here. There's the noise of the neighborhood. There's kids playing. Any scene of like 50s New York, I think, where there's just like tons of kids and noise in the streets and stuff like that. That's sort of what you can picture in this neighborhood. It is a very vibrant. It's summertime, so it's nice for people want to be outside. They don't want to be in these houses which are poorly ventilated.
Yeah, I think anytime the doctor goes to these sort of places, all the kids are always fascinated with Igor, so they end up using him as a sort of a plaything, and he sort of holds his arm out and they're sort of swinging on it, and he tries to encourage that to an extent, unless there's something serious going on.
Sure.
So he's just trying to, make friends with the locals almost.
Mm-hmm. Give us a diplomacy check, Dr. Earthsprung, only because I want to get a sense, get the temperature of what is going on here. That's pretty good. So you know what? At times, you found some people to be standoffish with you. Kids, not necessarily. Kids, I mean, are happy to. You're not like terrifyingly gruesome. You're just gruesome. And some kids find that adorable. So the kids are not keeping any distance from you, and actually neither are any of the parents as well. They're not necessarily chatting with you, but and this may actually be some of the folks who, at the very, if they haven't been patients of yours, they may have been, they may have heard of the work that you've been doing. Thanks to that report by Ms. Carrington about your upcoming charity. So. And perhaps even one of them asks, is this part of that big thing tonight, Doctor?
Yes. We have an event tonight. We're raising funds for my new clinic. I hope you're aware of the new clinic. Should you need any assistance in any way?
Well, thank you, Doctor. We are. Oh, everyone gets a hero point, by the way. We are aware, but we had not. We had not had occasion to visit the new clinic yet.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's going to be a fancy. One of the kids says, "Are you going to wear a hat?"
I'm not sure what they're going to make me wear, young boy. But I'm sure they will dress me up in some silly suit.
Kids all find that hilarious. Ms. Dumaire, what are you doing?
I think Mr. Jumeirah will be sighing gently as he gets all of these stinky kids running around and being noisy and all the rest of it. Heaven's sake, we've got a party to go to.
The kids are likely poking their heads in as well to see what's going on with you. Are you keeping yourself in the dark, or are you giving yourself any kind of exposure here?
No, I'll keep in the dark.
Okay.
I don't want it. It's also terribly desiccating out there in the sun.
Yeah, very true. All right. I don't know what color you tan when you're exposed to the sun, Ms. Dumir, but I can't imagine it's good being
Angry.
a benthic creature. So how does Basil return to these? Does he just suddenly arrive in the carriage or in the motorized carriage, or does he, once he gets close enough, kind of walk out and rejoin everybody?
I think he just with a small detour, so not to be obviously for a random spectator that he comes from this alley, but just a little bit, yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so Master Rathbone is just suddenly back among the crowd, and you see him, Dr. Sprung. Sally, maybe not because she's inside the carriage. What do you do next?
So yeah, I think we should move on. I think there's no reason to stand here anymore. Do you think?
Things to plan, things to get ready for. Unfortunately, we will have to move on.
Okay, the kids, all say goodbye to Igor and to you as well. One of the and then once you guys are all back in the carriage once again, and Igor is secured in the back, you have an opportunity for a private conversation.
Yeah. So there's an entrance to a cellar that is locked with some very intrinsic or very, very intricately crafted lock. I could not open it. It is trapped, and it is maybe very, very dangerous. So that is obviously something that is out of the ordinary around here. No one would.
I can imagine that you'd be sensitive about rat traps.
Yes, Sally. That is exactly what I was talking about. Yes. Yeah.
And did you see any sign of what might have been going on in there? Was there any sort of smells?
No. It's just the closed entrance to the cellar, and the doors were closed. I couldn't see anything, and I'm pretty sure whatever is inside there is somehow guarded as well, because someone who builds such a lock will make additional security provisions around there. By the way, someone already tried to get in, but I mean that was to be expected around here.
Do you think it could be related to those patchwork monsters? If it was a big opening like that, a double door, maybe they're dropping bits of body into the cellar or something disgusting.
You know, it would be big enough, Basil. And you didn't think to look for anything on the ground.
It might be. Then I mean, so I would at least remember if I see. I mean, from the picture, it looks like a little bit like there's marks from carriages in the in
Why don't you
the
do
road.
This? Why don't you give us let's see here. I think it'll be.
Maybe before we leave, you can see if you can recognise some sort of cart tracks or something.
Why don't you give us a perception check, please?
Yeah.
See what you can remember about.
It's not the best, but not. Come on. I have too many hero points already. So I would just.
Sounds good.
You don't need all that fight later.
Yeah. That's yeah, that's
honestly, I think what probably is the case is that Basil seeing that lock, it just, there was a little bit of fixation on like, something's being hidden here. So he did not, and then almost getting zorched by it. I think the mystery of that may have just overpowered his otherwise normally attentive properties. One thing I will say, actually, hold on, you get a class ability that you would notice normal things that would be, that wouldn't be outside the ordinary of individuals. You don't remember seeing anything like that. Like, you don't remember any particulars of it, but there was, I think what you can rely on is that you are trained sort of to look for things that are out of the ordinary. You didn't see like, little bits of blood or anything like that on the ground that you recall.
I'm not sure. I mean, I might have been distracted a little bit because this thing tried to burn my fur, but whatever. No, I didn't see anything. So
no, it's just that it's quite a high tech sort of lock or device. I thought, we come across these transmitters in the heads that are quite high tech as well.
Why don't you give us to give it a sense of how advanced this is, Dr. Ersprung? You are going off of the description here, so I want to set the difficulty at 23, but give us a crafting check, please. Yeesh.
Gonna re-roll that.
Okay. After that 21 or 31, I'm kind of... Now, let's see if Basil, with his... Basil, why don't you give us a crafting check to assist? If you get a 20, you'll get him the +1.
Yeah, okay.
Or thievery, I think.
Unlikely, but... Oh, yeah, thievery, that would be... Yeah, but I did crafting already, and thievery wouldn't change it. With thievery, I would get actually a 20 if this is part of the investigation. But that's maybe...
then yes. So, I mean, is this part of your investigation?
It should be part of the investigation. I think we are looking for any clues. So I don't know how this is exactly related to which side of the case.
Let's think of it this way. How many cases can you trace at this point at level 5? Two. So let's picture that it's the big white thing you've written that you've pinned to the top of your board.
Yeah.
So whatever that category is, if it fits within those two categories, then you'll get the bonus. So one of them, I think, is what the Patchwork people right now.
Yes.
And what is the other one?
Yeah, I think it is this TikTok killer, because he came up a lot of times now.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay. So then, yes, with that +1, you get that's a 20, which means you get +1 to your crafting check, Dr. Ersprung, which means it's just enough to get what you needed. So off the description that he's giving you, that is a very advanced device. That is most assuredly something that is that would require some unique engineering. It is not something that is just the typical fare in Paridar.
Yeah, like I say, I referenced it because that transmitter in the head of those creatures were very advanced as well.
Indeed.
So it could be related, but maybe this is something we should investigate a little bit more in the quiet hours, should I say?
If we only knew an automaton who was always also a master surgeon, yeah, that would be very suspicious.
There wouldn't be any way to get your little spy robot in there, would there?
Yeah, I thought about it, but it only records audio. So what would be the purpose?
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing I could do is actually try to talk some rats into helping us, but that's maybe a little bit far-fetched right now.
Well, what's your nature score?
I learned rat speak.
Just because you can talk to them doesn't mean you can charm them.
Yeah. And my nature is 10.
It's not bad. It's
not
not awful.
Yeah, I'm trained in nature, so yeah.
Okay. Certain could be. I mean, yeah, you could attempt to train. I think that might be asking a lot for your average rodent, but you definitely could try. You guys need to recruit a druid.
Yeah, no. Not yet. I think that is something we will do after this charity event.
Okay.
So
okay.
that's...
So then, what do you guys wish to do next?
Like I say, the only other thing I wanted to do was invite the Father Rush. Just so he's there, if he hasn't already had an invite.
I think you guys would have
has.
had at some point a conversation about who to invite, who not to invite, and I imagine that name would have come up.
Okay.
Yep. So you can assume he's kind of... Are you inviting Father Hezekiah?
No.
No, that would be great, yeah.
The ultimate in buzzkill.
Yeah, really. Oh, man. Okay, so then if there's nothing else, you guys will be heading back, and then it will be time to get ready for the party. So let's... the party is going to be in the nice neighborhood, so that puts us to... Let's see, where is it? Aha. Right here.
Just for out of curiosity,
Yep.
Adam, would you have invited Vester King? So this Golag Starling painter?
I don't think I would in her current state of... I don't know what to call it, really. Obsession.
She is still undergoing supervised treatment, so I think that I believe that the Kings told you that they would not be attending, but they had made a donation to the thing, and that they appreciated the invite. If you did invite her, it's likely they would have declined because of medical reasons. Although she is seeing people now, like she's been having those salons where she's been showing off her paintings.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Golag to get his act together and do a bit of research on these paintings, but he seems a bit obsessed with it all, so...
Indeed, he seems that he may not be able to make the party tonight on account of seeing the painting.
Getting carried away.
So then, what do you guys wish to do? Anything you wish to do before we turn to the actual party itself?
I would. So I guess I'm wearing some kind of jacket and a hat and so on. So is it possible to put my clockwork spy within there and it is not noticed? So I mean, it
give
must
us a
be
thievery check. Let's see. That'll effectively that's a sleight of hand in this game.
Yeah.
So let's see how well you concealed it.
Yeah, I want to.
Let me tell you the restraint I'm using about the prison wallet joke. That is fine. Yeah, you've got it concealed in your person. No one will know that it's on there.
Yeah.
Whether that's like
so
you've got it in a pocket that is
device.
Concealed by a cape or something like that, or a jacket you're wearing over the thing.
I just hand out my little gadgets that I make every day.
No, thank you.
Just in case something goes awry. I mean, I can't imagine.
I guess I'll leave my gauntlets behind. It's hardly the thing for a soiree, for a party.
Okay. And what are the chances of a fight breaking out here? Come on.
Maybe Igor could carry him for you in his little secret compartment.
I'll pop the gloves in then. Thank you. I'll wear nice satin long forearm length gloves tonight. It's a little bit more elegant.
Nice. I've been working on we had to postpone the charity session, but I've been working with Amazing Adventures for a while, and I love how in that game, it's like however many more accoutrements you've got on your character, that's how much more armor you get. So like a fedora will give you armor, and wearing a scarf will give you armor, and wearing a long coat will give you armor. It's just really funny. In a good way, like it totally fits the it encourages you to really describe the nonsense that it's all over your character, so you can get the benefit of more armor. So what? Oh, go ahead and go.
No, I was just saying that is why Indiana Jones grabs the hat, because he needs this armor bonus. Yeah,
He's a min-maxer. It's gonna be 2 points of armor. Come on, man. All right. So you distributed the ablative armor plating. Tell me about what else, or tell us what else you guys are wearing. We're playing with the, for those listening at home, we're playing with the alternate rules out of the Game Mastery Guide, 2nd edition for armor class. So characters don't need to wear full armor and whatnot in order to get the benefit of some AC bonuses. But what are you guys wearing to this thing? Dr. Earthsprung, you're cracking out that suit, that tuxedo that you were wearing before?
Well, yeah, I mean, people call it a tuxedo, but it's 2 separate suits that were both quite nice once, but they're different shades. But they're both for him they're like super smart, but they don't quite go together. They're different color. But the jacket looks quite nice if it was on its own. The trousers look quite nice on its own. But when you put them together, he definitely stands out. And he's got his one good white shirt.
This is a non sequitur, but this is pre-COVID when I worked out of an office. But I had one day where I pulled an all-nighter to finish up on a brief that I needed to get finished, and then I went in the office the next day, and it wasn't until the afternoon when someone was like, "Kev, are you wearing navy pants and a black blazer?" And I'm like, it appears that I am, because I wasn't paying close enough attention to the colors when I was putting them on.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah,
he's been sort of donated these over the years, but the other bits have been damaged.
When they went to, when you guys went to the display for the Elder Order of the Endless Odyssey, I believe that they actually purchased, either Golag or someone else purchased a proper set of clothing for you.
I thought it was only hired, that one.
No, I don't think in Paridar you have a rent a tux kind of thing.
No. All right. Well, maybe then he forgot that he's got that, and then suddenly he'll get to the wardrobe and go,
yeah,
just the thing.
Well, it's been months since he's done it, and I think with moving too, maybe you forgot that it survived the fire as well, right? So, yeah,
well, even more.
There you go. Now, anything that you are that anyone else is secreting on themselves for this soiree?
I mean, if I have this unusually large top hat, I could put my gun in there, I think.
You could. Let's assume that you show up with, because I think this will be a fun scene. You maybe, as you guys are getting dressed, you show up with Dr. Earthsprung, and you're carrying the hat in one hand and the gun in the other. And you're looking at these things and you're like, so... and Dr. Earthsprung immediately knows precisely what it is that you're trying to achieve here. Dr. Earthsprung, do you think you have a solution for him?
I'm sure I could knock something up to sort of temporarily store it in his hat. Some sort of, I don't know, a bit of crafting to...
Sure.
Put some sort of temporary holster almost in his hat.
Yeah. Why don't you give us a crafting check? We'll set the DC at 16 on this. I don't think this is super complicated. Yeah. So that will be functioning.
And that is why I needed the hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Be careful when you doff it, Then I think everyone is dressed to the nines. You guys are going to be arriving at Ms. Lagrange's residence a little early, just to get yourself prepared. And we are a couple of minutes early. We did start late too, but I'd like last time I tried to push through a session, my old man bladder almost burst. So I think we'll take our mid-session break right now, and then we'll come back and attend ourselves a soiree. So for those listening at home, we'll be back momentarily.
So what kind of party crashing are we expecting?
I'm sure there's going to be some sort of lunatics that'll turn up that cause disturbance. I'll be amazed
At the party?
if there
Come
isn't.
on.
Yeah.
Oh man, sorry for the delay. It is we're supposed to be getting snow today, but it's gorgeous outside right now, so I had trouble getting Anna Banana back inside. So, and I checked the audio. Seems like the audio is doing fine. So
That's good.
whatever our workaround ended up being seems to be working okay. So then, guys, first off, everyone... No, not yet. Not yet. So, tell us how you guys make your entrance to Ms. Lagrange's soiree.
Surely this is Sally's thing, isn't it? Not?
Just been waiting all this time.
Well, this is your event, Doctor. This is surely your event. Your chance to shine.
I thought Daphne was a good friend, though.
Oh, no. So I'll swan in towards Daphne and
Let's remind ourselves what Ms. Lagrange
flounce
looks
in.
like. She is in a similarly elaborate thing. No hat this time because she is indoors, but it is similarly elaborate. And when she sees you, darling.
Exactly. I was going to say much darlings are going across the room.
Yep. The insufferable children of the rich is what Miss Lagrange personifies. So she comes over and gives you a great big hug. The place is phenomenal, and there is she's actually sprung for a bunch of the you know that the photographs, like what or whatever the version of the steampunk version of photographs are. They're not a cheap thing to come by, nor are they terribly common, but it seems as if Miss Lagrange has actually gone and captured photographs of a bunch of your former, what do you call it? Your former patients, Doctor. And there are testimonials written up by under each of them. So this place, while they're not attending, it's almost as if she's made it so that there is a socially acceptable way for the people to meet the people who assist or benefit from your services. Miss Carrington is here as well, too. It seems this has been a work of the two of them. And Ms. Lagrange gestures around at the place. And what do you think, Doctor?
It'll be sort of open-mouthed. He'll be trying to look as surprised, because this is nothing, you know, he's not interested in this at all, all this grandeur. But he'll play the shocked, sort of surprised kid.
Well, and you recognize every one of
Day.
the faces too. Like it's all your patients.
Yeah. Did I manage to get any of them to attend? I was trying to get one of the sort of war type veterans.
Yeah, I think there are a couple, but they have been very carefully selected for those who are not going to make a scene or you know.
Yeah.
Whatever, but yeah, there are likely some corpsmen here as well. Not necessarily only the corpsmen, but also veterans of all different stripes.
You've certainly outdone yourselves, ladies. This is far and beyond what I was expecting. I can only give my greatest of gratitudes to what you've done already before the event's even started.
Well, Miss Carrington says I think that the good work you do speaks for itself, and with the funding already received before from those who were unable to attend in person, I think that you will be able to do much good with those funds. And Ms. Lagrange says, and she, with a great deal of flourish, she gives you, I think, an indication. It's a letter, and it's addressed from her. And she looks at you knowingly, Sally, as if to say, like,
Yeah, you've really made a wonderful...
This, Doctor.
What's that? It's is she?
She's handed you a letter that's sealed.
Okay. Should I open this now, or is this for later?
Oh, do it now so it's done. I would hate for there to be a production made over this when everyone else is here.
Okay.
If you open the thing up, what you find is that she herself has made a very sizable donation to your charity as well. So,
yes, this is far too generous, but I assure you, it will go to very good use.
Sally has assured me that the work that you do, every pence goes towards the necessary and good work for the benefit of those less fortunate.
You've made a wonderful event here. I mean, of course, your residence is delightful as ever, but, you and Miss Carrington have done a wonderful job of getting the
Annie has
cream
been
of society here.
Nothing but the greatest of assistants. And you can see, Basil, that, like, Annabelle just kind of cringes being called Annie. Has been incredible. Her delightful idea to have those in need attend by way of capturing their likenesses, extremely novel. And I think even though, yes, I think it is definitely appropriate. There is no manner of seeing those who benefit. It would not be off-putting to those who might attend. Yeah. So Ms. Lagrange, she may not be down with, she's happy to try and help the poor in the abstract, but she's not crazy about seeing the poors. So,
Yeah.
But I mean, she is, as you say, a product of her environment, I suppose.
I'll spend a few minutes just walking along and sort of reminiscing over some of the sort of friends and people I've met.
Yeah. And there's lots. I think that with some as well, like they only come to your clinic when necessary. You know, it's tough to take the time. So in a way, for some of these, you're actually catching up with the patients in a way. And yeah, it's a good, you know, I suspect that between the combination of your activities with the Shadow Eliminations Detective Agency and your own practice, just keeping on top of all the patients, it's hard to see a big picture of it, precisely how many people you've managed to help over the years. And this really gives a good context to that.
An excellent idea.
So while Dr. Ersprung is making his way around, and I think Miss Carrington will accompany him, happy to to take her to her leave of Ms. Lagrange. What do the rest of you guys wish to do? People have not started arriving yet. We're going to cut forward to kind of at the party a little later, but Basil, anything you wish to?
Yeah, but I mean, just I'm a little bit paranoid, but I still think that there is someone going to attack this thing. So I don't know, maybe just looking for possible points of entry or so. Well, would people come through this window or so? Just getting a picture of this.
Well, it's a great big balcony.
I don't trust the piece.
Here as well. So like there's in addition to the main room where everyone is going to be congregating and socializing, there's a great big, there's a salon to the side. There is a big patio as well where things have been set up because the weather is lovely. So yeah, this is not a very easily defensible place if there was any kind of attack. Ms. Dumer, what about yourself?
I'll just enjoy it because I'm having a little bit of society fun.
Yep. Okay.
Swan about.
So then what do you guys find as you are... Get my notes for the soiree. Where's my party notes here? Yes. So we're going to cut ahead a bit to the actual party itself, and it very quickly starts filling up. You very quickly find that there are lots and lots of people that are filling up here. Dr. Ersprung, you are finding your ears being talked off, not literally, but very, very, very figuratively by tons of people who want to tell you about, either shower praises on you or, make a point of making a big production out of their own donations to you. But it seems like this is going to be a great success. Like, you will certainly be able to finance not only, the clinic for several, perhaps even years, but even upgrading, like, beyond your wildest dreams with the kind of facilities that you may want. To access. Dr. Risewell makes an appearance as well. Whatever damages he had suffered before, he has had repaired, or he's healed naturally, because the automatons do heal over time, like normal flesh and blood creatures do. And he is making your way. So I think maybe you see him across the the way, and he walks over and says, "Good afternoon." So it's good evening, Doctor. This does seem to be a quite successful affair.
It certainly does. The ladies have done us proud, and hopefully it will keep the clinic running, and hopefully even mean I'll be able to expand it in some ways.
Indeed. One of the things is out of character. One of the things you guys had talked about last time was Dr. Risewell's insight that recognition by the church was one of the things that turned public opinion in favor of the automatons in Paridar. What have you given any further thought to that?
Well, only like I said, I was thinking about Father Rush, of being a potential good person to spread the word.
Yeah.
I would certainly be searching him out and seeing if he's there, and making sure he's fully on board with what's going on, and what sort of missions I've got, or what improvements and what plans we've got for the mission.
I think what he then says is, I would, one of the things I guess you might know is that Father Rush, while very well-meaning and he's a helpful guy, Father Hezekiah's assessment of him as far as like a terribly effective priest, beyond just offering like the basic ministrations or basic needs, that spiritual needs that the community might need, he's not really much of a setting the world on fire type. And you would know this from meeting him. He's extremely effective at getting the work done on the ground level, but he's not really a politicker, and he's certainly not higher up in the church. So that kind of influence might be challenging. But what Dr. Sanford wants to, or who Dr. Sanford wants to introduce you to, is a guy named Father Reginald. And his, let's see, Father Reginald is you can picture a tall and pretty, like one of those guys who is just like impeccably groomed. Perfect, perfect shaving, perfect. He's bald, but he's shaved his hair back. He's tall, and he seems to be fairly fit as well, fairly active. And his priest's robes fit him perfectly. They're ideally tailored for his form. He has little glasses on as well too, and they certainly seem to be. Oh, so Anna's yelling at somebody. I'm just gonna see how it shows up in the background noise here. Are you gonna yell again? Anna! Of course she won't bark on command. We'll see how loud that... I'm hopeful. For those listening at home, if you're joining us late or otherwise, OBS pushed through an update, so we had to fix a whole bunch of stuff with the filters and levels and whatnot to it. So I'm worried that we don't want Anna's voice, though we love hearing from her, to overpower the players or myself. So I'm just checking to see what those levels are. But anyway, this guy steps forward, and he seems to be, he's got like an aquiline nose. He's got dark eyes that seem to be extremely intense. He looks, as if he's studying the crowd, as if sort of like where almost as if he's like a general of old planning an attack. And he turns to you, and Dr. Sanford says, Father Reginald, this is Dr. Ersprung, the physician behind the clinic that benefits from these charities. And he turns and looks at you and says, Dr. Ersprung, blessings of the heavenly host upon you. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise. What brings you to our get-together this evening?
He gestures. Dr. Risewell was good enough to extend the invitation to make me aware of this, and I have a way of finding invitations to such things when is necessary. And Dr. Risewell says, Father Reginald was involved quite heavily in the initiative to see the automatons recognized as beings with souls and worthy of the grace of the Church of the Heavenly Host and of the Heavenly Host following the war. And he nods his head. This is where he does seem, there's a little bit of sincerity that seems to be coming through. And it says, indeed, as was only right that we should recognize as such. And Dr. Risewell says, given the developments of late, I thought that it would be beneficial for the two of you to meet. And Father Reginald turns and says, indeed, Dr. Ersprung, from what I'm led to believe, that while you are a remarkable creature in and of yourself, unique in the eyes of the Heavenly Host, that you are not alone in your kind.
Yes, that is not. Well, I don't know if this is the place to discuss such matters, but
Dr. Risewell says,
right.
I assure you, Father Reginald is the height of discretion.
Oh yes, it's not your good friend Father Reginald that I'm concerned of. People are in these. So I look around. They have quite loose lips. They like to gossip. These people. I don't want to concern anyone. There seems to be rumours and some problems going around the city with regards to, I think they call us patchwork people.
Father Reginald nods and says, I understand. You may not recall the time after the war, but similar scurrilous and hateful things were said of the automatons following that. There are those who feel that the gain of others is a loss for themselves, not recognizing that the grace of the Heavenly Host is infinite. Paridar and the grace of the Heavenly Host is available for all deserving of it. And he gestures around the work that you have performed, Dr. Ersprung. If nothing else, this demonstrates the work of the Heavenly Host through you.
And I would be more than happy to discuss this further at another time. And I only hope that my clinic supports the good work that you do in the church, in the sea.
I spoke to Father Rush, and he looks over and you can see Father Rush is kind of in a very animated way talking to someone else in the thing. It is a little out of his Father Rush's depth as well. And he has made me aware of the good work that you do. Too often the focus of the masses rarely falls on those less the unfortunates who you help. I I try to ensure that the good work that yourself and Father Rush do is, if not popularized, recognized by those who matter.
If the event goes well and we get the funding, then I was hoping to also be able to set up some sort of temporary housing to outside our building, some sort of tents and temporary housing and food, so we can use it as a shelter as well, to give those that need a help in their lives a few days or possibly a week.
There are some councillors on the Paridar City Council who may object to such things as being encouraging transience. I would be honored if you would allow me to diffuse and to deflect those potential objections and see if I cannot get agreement with the majority of the council that such an endeavor would be worthy one of approval for zoning.
Any help would be greatly received. I'm not a man of many words. These social gatherings are not things that I would normally attend. I'm not comfortable at, but I can see that,
Father Reginald raises his hands. He says, "These hands, Doctor, I can tell you, these are not healing hands. I would likely do as much, if not more, harm with them if I attempted to do your profession. I trust, being a master of your own, you will allow someone with different skills to assist you where your skills fall short."
I would be more than grateful to accept your offer.
Then we should have dinner, the three of us, and any of your staff that you would care for. I understand that your Miss Elizabeth has been most valuable in operating the facility.
Yeah, I have currently Betty and Cyrus, a couple of
Benny,
people that
forgive me.
help out. They've been invaluable given their time. They go above and beyond what they should.
I think I'd like to meet this Betty. And Dr. Risewell says, "I can arrange this introduction. I see her across the way." Then he turns and he takes your hand in both of his and he shakes him. He says, "It is a great pleasure to meet you, Doctor."
Likewise. Yeah.
Turns and he heads away. Miss Carrington sort of has been lurking and listening as unobtrusively as she can, and she comes in. I think she walks up to you, Basil, and says, "Basil, you're maybe, doing your, checking for corners. You're making sure your hat doesn't, it's got a little different weight to it now, so you're having to take a little more care with it." But Miss Carrington walks up to you and says, "Basil, are you enjoying yourself?"
Yes. I'm a little bit concerned about the sheer number of attacks Adam has suffered in the last few days. So,
Well, I can assure you, I can see at least, I can see reporters from at least 3 other publications who are here, who do not write for the International, who I expect to walk away with very glowing reviews of his work.
that would be very nice indeed. That would be very nice. So,
Tell me,
could you? Yeah.
Basil, forgive me, and she gestures over, and you can see at this point, I think, is when Dr. Ersprung is speaking to Father Reginald and Dr. Risewell, forgive me. And she says, "How does Dr. Ersprung know Father Reginald?"
I have no idea, actually.
Do you know Father Reginald? You can give us
Not
a
at all.
society check here. You might be able to. Or
Yeah.
religion. Yeah. Everyone gets a hero point, by the way, too.
Society is better than religion, so let's try society.
Roll20 has not been forgiving for you today.
No. It's just I'm not so deeply involved with this church business, to be honest.
Okay. So yes, you look over and you don't know. And she says, "Does the name Win mean anything?"
Maybe it does.
Yeah, give us another society check.
Okay.
This one's a little easier than the last one. There you go. The Wynn are one of the more influential families and the older families. Not as old as, like, say, Eckhart. But they are definitely one of the, like, founding families of Paridar. Before he was a member of the Cloth, Father Reginald was Reginald Wynn.
Okay. That is very, very interesting. So, if you know him, is he more of the, how to phrase it, and I will just giggle a little bit, more of the scheming kind of church official, or more of the open-hearted?
I would say, from my understanding, I've only met the man in passing, and I cannot say that even in that time that I got to know him, he is, I would say, both. He was a very influential, some would say that the recognition of the automatons as persons may not have occurred without his initiative and his influence, both within the church and through his family.
Was he somehow involved in the war as well?
Not in a service capacity. He served only at home, but it was in that in that aftermath of that, it was his initiative to have the church recognize the automatons. Is where really he made his mark, not only as a member of the church, but also as a very influential member of the clergy. He has the benefit of both the influence and the reach of the Wynn family, while clothing his activities in the raiments of the church.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So I can imagine why someone who is very rich wants to have automatons fully accepted into society. But yeah.
As she looks, she says, I don't follow. What do you mean?
Yeah. Just maybe I'm in a very paranoid mood with this case, you know? And there's something awfully wrong. I just don't know.
If it had not been for Wynn's efforts, the automatons could very well have been brought back and put to work in a civilian capacity in the same way they were used during the war.
Yes, I understand.
If he... I don't know what his interest is in Dr. Ursprung or the clinic. He has proven to be a very valuable ally for the automatons.
You know, when we had this business with this lunatic Brother Loeb,
Yes.
there seemed to be some kind of, let me say, more conservative wing of the church who had, who maybe looked out for people like Brother Loeb and protected them in a way, or someone maybe not within the church, but someone who was against such people as Adam or our Dr. Ricewell here.
The connection in the fires that I had brought to you. Yes.
Yes. So there is some. Yeah. I'm not sure. There seems to be some kind of reactionary movement going on.
Basil, if you think there is only one faction moving through the levels of power in Paridar, and she kind of pinches your cheek, you are more naive than I gave you credit for.
No. I believe that there are multiple factions, but now we are talking church, and I think there is even multiple factions within the church. But yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
There is. I don't know if you've met before, but I see. And she waves at someone, and then whoever is coming over is someone that is kind of concealed by people crossing in front of them. And she says, I'm not certain whether you have met. I spoke to him before, and he's a very interesting individual as well. And as the crowd parts, you see walking towards you. Basil, tell me, have you met Sir Henri Daniel before? And the rat folk who you met.
Yeah, I know.
Walks up, monocle in his eye, and he bows to her. Ms. Carrington, how lovely it is to see you again. And Monsieur Rathbone, a pleasure to see you as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
She looks at you. You've met before then too. And she says, indeed.
Yeah.
You write such wonderful words about our Mr. Rathbone and his detectives. 'Tis most edifying. And I prefer to keep myself apprised of the gossip that we see. Mr. Rathbone, Monsieur Rathbone.
Yes.
It is a pleasure to meet you at long last.
Yeah.
There's a twinkle that hits his eye, just so.
Yeah. I was a little bit puzzled that he would agree that we have met before. So, oh yes, it is very nice to meet you. I've never heard of you before, so excuse my ignorance.
Well, there are some of us who do not favor the glare of the spotlight as you do, though traveling with performers, and he gestures over at Ms. Dumer, as you do, perhaps some of her habits you pick up, no? And
yeah. You're very right. I'm very curious. So, how do you know Miss Carrington? That's very interesting.
And Annabelle says, well, so Monsieur Daniel, he has some very interesting friends, and has proven, without disclosing anything, he has proven very helpful in past. And
yeah.
He gestures, he says, Madame, you flatter me. I merely provided some perspective on matters, and you, with your words, wrote such wonderful things. You, madam, are a true artist. And this, what a show! And he gestures around, sweeping with his cape. He is a much more gregarious and elaborate, showy kind of person with her than what you met before. And she says, well, this is the very least. The work that Dr. Earthsprung is performing is truly worthy of such attention and benefit. And he says, I could not agree more, which is why I've made a very generous donation. Anonymously.
I'm very, very gracious, very thankful for your gracious
Monsieur
donation.
Rathbone, there is no need to feel in debt to me. Not in the least.
No, I would.
Miss Carrington says, forgive me, gentlemen, I believe there is someone now that you have met, I will leave you to meet Monsieur Daniel, Mr. Rathbone. And she turns and kind of heads off. He swans over, looks around. A very impressive display, Monsieur Rathbone.
Yes, it is. It is. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on here.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I
Yes.
think that it was... you may need more work if you wish to conceal a pistol in your chapeau again. And he sort of hits it, and you didn't realize that he slipped his cane behind his back, and he tips the back of your hat, so you kind of have to like, whoop, catch it. Are you expecting trouble today, Mr. Rathbone?
Yes, indeed. Actually, I think it might be a very dangerous place to be here, but maybe we are lucky and there will be no one attacking us
In
for a
this
minute.
day and age, what can be said to be a safe place, no? I heard that you were attacked by such things. Dangerous things.
Yes. I'm always surprised that you and the non-existing network of our friends and families.
He taps the ground with his or the hardwood floor with his cane, and it kind of catches a bunch of people's attention. And he smiles and he says, "Monsieur Rathbone, you should know better than to discuss such things where ears can be everywhere."
No. Yes. I understand. What I wanted to remark, and what is maybe very, very interesting to anyone even listening to us, is what I'm puzzled by the state of the city right now. I'm very, very puzzled what is going on here and why this is going on and why all of a sudden all these cases emerge, you know? It's very, very puzzling.
I
And you
would think
always
that
seem
you
to
would
know.
be grateful for such to be keeping your little inspectors as busy as you are.
Yes, but you know, you always seem to be at least 2 or 3 steps ahead of me, and that is very, very... I don't know. It's, it makes me feel like, you know, you are better at my job than I am. Very puzzling.
Monsieur Rathbone, do not trouble yourself. And he leans in, and this is where, like, there's a little bit of a cast of shadow that comes over his eyes. I am.
Yeah, I think that you think that, yeah. Well, maybe one day I will prove you wrong.
Well, Monsieur Rathbone, I did not come to spar. This is a worthy endeavor. And, from what I understand, Dr. Earthsprung has learned that his family is bigger than expected.
Yeah,
No?
thanks for the information, yes.
We wish nothing but success for you. And if you learned discretion more, then perhaps you would find more ways that we could assist you. For instance, your colleague, who is conspicuously absent today. I hope and pray he is not ill. I understand he has an obsession with a boat.
Yes.
He taps the thing on the ground. leans in.
Yeah.
I think perhaps that some sea air may do him good. There is a lovely community not far up the coast, within less than a day's travel. Dag on the sea. Perhaps some fresh air.
Yes.
No?
Yes, true. It's very, very, very generous of you. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I wish nothing but health and wealth for all of you. He leans in. Dag on the sea.
Yeah. Got it the first time.
Monsieur Rathbone, he turns, and then he sees someone else and kind of, once again gets back to that gregarious thing. But he makes a point of looking back at you, and his eyes once again as hard and as cold as stone. And then he turns and melts once again as he goes back into the crowd.
Yeah.
Okay. And Ms. Dumer, I think you are thoroughly. Tell us a little bit about what you foresee that you've been doing while you've been making your way around the crowd here.
Well, I think Miss Dumer will have obviously swanned around a bit, having enjoyed a little bit of her the image she cuts, so little memories of glory. But then she'll want to spend some time with Miss Carrington and socialize a little there.
Yeah.
But
what is it with Miss Carrington that anything in particular you want to talk to her about?
Well, she'd just like to have a chat with her anyway.
Okay.
But also to have something also to say. She will ask around these about other press being at the party, because obviously she'll know as well that the other press would be there.
Yeah, most likely. So you are perhaps you're finishing talking to something else. You see Ms. Carrington walk away from where she was speaking to Basil at one point, and then you hear from behind you. Excuse me, madam. Are you Sally of the Deep? And you turn.
Why, yes. And to whom do I have the honor?
This gentleman is. He would give Dr. Ursprung a run for his money as far as size is concerned. He's also lent, but he's not quite as tall as him. He also has the added benefit of wearing a very sharp gray uniform with a bunch of buttons and ribbons and stuff on it. And he cuts the jib of a military officer, only the thing is, he is from a rival nation with which Paridar was at war during the war. And he has a short cropped hair on the top that goes down into the back, but then it's made up for by this massive bushy kind of like honey drip mustache that grows up into sideburns. But all of it sort of is comically sort of propped up with the massive grin on his face. So it has a extremely welcoming, and almost like bear-like quality to it. You are Miss Sally of the Deep.
Oh, why yes, sir. And to whom do I have the honor?
He takes your hand and shakes it. I am Lord Vyacheslav Vyaslovich Vyasovich. What? Blasievich. It is a pleasure to meet you. You can call me Vyacheslav. Please. No need for honorifics in here. You are from the depths of the ocean, I hear.
Indeed. I do find this all rather dry around here.
Oh,
but still, the company makes it worthwhile.
Is it true that you used to perform on the stage with this?
I did. It was a passing moment, but it seemed to please people.
Oh, I can imagine. At the time, our nations were not so good friends as they are now. And then, I did not have the benefit of seeing you, but I heard and I read about you.
And what did you hear? What did you read of these things?
Secrets of the deep. You may not know, but I was an admiral in our country.
Oh my!
Yes, I fancy myself a master of the sea, but to read of you from deep beneath, from so far down, such secrets. I knew the sea had secrets itself, but to know that it contained such lovely things and people.
And some things are best left unsaid.
Yes, the sea is unforgiving and dangerous. Oh, I suspect those in your crowds may not appreciate such dangers. And now I hear you are a detective of some kind?
Well, I tired of the mysteries of the deep, so now I research the mysteries of the land.
Fascinating. Such work. It prevents you from returning to your home, though?
Indeed, but there are still compensations. Still compensations.
Miss Sally, I would be honored if you would accompany me for a dance.
Why, certainly, sir.
My evening is made. And he takes you and kind of brings you over to the thing. And for a big guy, he's not as graceful as you by any means, but he's not. Clearly, whatever upbringing this guy had, it definitely included proper formal dances. Albeit, it sounds like you were pretty keyed into society for quite some time. It's very formal stuff. Like he is dancing in a way that probably was formalized 200 years ago. So very traditionalist, but very enthusiastic.
Yep. So I'll regale him with some more stories. As you say.
I believe you have a lifelong fan now. He is very interested in what you're saying. And as you're talking to him up close too, there is something curious. When you first met him, when you spoke to him, he had one eye that was violet and one eye that was yellow. A little bit unusual. As you're dancing with him and you're talking to him further, you're realizing that did one of them shift to the other? Like one has become yellow and you're certain that was violet before and the other one is now violet. And you're fairly certain it was yellow.
Intriguing.
He has many questions about you. If you give us a perception check here, let's see if you can get a read on this feller. Lord Vlasovich. Yeah. So here's the thing is, Vlasovich definitely, he carries on, he is very friendly, he is very gregarious, and you get the sense he doesn't give a shit how anyone else takes his personality, his presentation, his whatever. He is one of those guys who seems to be a boundless well of joy without a lot of not self-reflection, but like in the sense that he just, trammels on other people, but in the sense of he does not have a lot of pretension to him. There are things he values and he talks about with pride. He tells you a lot about the Navy from his nation, but he doesn't brag about it. It's more a matter-of-fact kind of way. He asks you a lot about like the location of your thing, but you don't get the sense he's asking for any kind of ulterior motive. His interest in you seems to be genuinely that he's curious of you.
Oh, super. Well, I'll humor him on this. And I must say, I'm curious on the eyes.
What's weird, because
But probably not something to bring up.
Yeah, so, and as he's talking to you too, again, it happens at least 2 more times in the course of your dance, that his eyes, you're certain that one was yellow, one was violet, and they've switched positions once or twice throughout the dance. If you can give us a...
I'll go and ask about his family. So where did he come from?
We are from the old kind. My family, the Vlasiviches, we have been in the country for very, very long times. Our kind, I know not what your kinds go back to, but for us, sit on. Then we were warlords fighting one another, and the old woman came and made peace between us. That is when our family dates from. It's said that we married into her daughters as well. If you can give us an occult roll.
Not sure that's worth the effort, but...
I did not know you could roll that low at this level. So yeah, it means very little to you of what's going on. What you could do is give us a society check as well. This is the occultism might give you some insight into more particulars. The society. You want to hear a point?
I'll re-roll that. Yeah.
I think your society's a little better than.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah. So what you know is that the rival nation that Paridar was at war with, were one of the ones that they were at war with. It was originally it was originally said to be a bunch of different groups, and there was one very powerful like sorceress who sort of brought all of them together. And to call it sorceress, I think. When you hear sorceress, you think of like, oh, a young woman and whatnot. This is more in the like crone category, you know, sitting around stirring cauldrons, harassing Scottish lords. That's more the speed of what this ancient. Some might even call her a hag. She's the one who forced the warlords into an agreement, and she's the one who, it said, sealed the agreement by way of marrying off to her daughters. And the lines of these various members of the aristocracy and the czars who run that country, they all have her bloodline in their family history.
Right, so I'll just say so. With such an illustrious and lengthy heritage, you must have really quite some mysteries of your own.
Oh, no. There are those who like to intrigue and who prefer to prevaricate. I am not that man. When the opportunity to come as a diplomat to Paridar came, and to escape the scheming of our home court, I happily took it. Old warriors, old enemies do not become fast friends when scheming, duplicitous types come. They come when one who speaks plainly and truly comes. So, they sent me.
I must say, I've heard of these, the people here in Paridar. They do have this eye color called hazel, which turns green to brown, but you seem to have something far more distinguished than that.
Yes, it is the legacy. The old woman. Many of our kind. Some find it disconcerting. I hope you would not take it as such. Miss Sally.
Well, given that mine are glowing blue, I suppose I shouldn't complain.
Indeed. So I think this is where Dr. Earthsprung, you can see that Sally seems to be talking to someone on the dance floor, and they're getting a lot of attention from it just because he seems to be the only person, well, for one, the only person dressed in that uniform. And because, this is, I think that Basil and anyone else here would recognize, while not necessarily the dress uniform that's on there, these are very similar to the uniforms you faced, on the battlefield during the war. And, Anna's barking on the scene. Yeah, it's pretty loud. Damn it. Anna! So what, let's see here. What do you can see Dr. Earthsprung, and I think Basil, you maybe look over and see that this is occurring as well. Mr. Mayor, anything else that you wish to discuss with him? He doesn't want to. He does try to be mindful, not monopolizing your time, but he will talk your ear off all evening. And I think, Mr. Mayor, you maybe see in the crowd, Professor Watson Fole is out among them.
Well, my thought was I will try and arrange and say that we must meet again, but otherwise I was going to head off for these other reporters because I think it's time that I preach the gospel of Dr. Earthsprung to some of them. Okay, sure. So, well, what do you? How do you leave things with Lord Vlasovich, forgive me.
I should say we should have lunch sometime. Two seafarers of our, as we are.
Your tea time. It is an accustomed strange for your people. Perhaps we could slip some vodka in too, no?
Well, I'm perfectly happy with the smoked salmon sandwiches and the mackerel pate myself. But why not?
Then I will drink both, enough for two then. Until we see again. Truly a highlight of my time in Paridar, Miss Sally.
No, it's charming to meet you, sir.
And you. And he bows low to you, and you make your way over to you sort of wave at Professor Watson Fole, and then you're able to make your way over. And why don't you give us a diplomacy check? Let's see how things went with the reporters. Nat one, baby. You want to punch one in the face.
So it's the halfling, huh?
I'm going to guess you're going to hero point that?
I think I'm going to hero point that.
Not a bad plan. So you're grilled pretty heavily on this. I think you expect maybe to just kind of come in. The impression you left on Lord Vlasovic, maybe you expected to be as easily able to impress the reporters, but it seems that they have some pretty pointed questions for you. So you didn't make things worse for Dr. Earthsprung, but it's
I will stick in there.
Yeah.
I will call over one of the waiters and get some more champagne brought round.
Okay.
I said, gentlemen, really, you have the wrong end of the stick. Some scurrilous rags. I have make some strange allegations, but I do assure you, he's a delight and a wonderful man for the society. He makes astounding efforts.
You make good efforts to try and do it, but it's not. They're not just swallowing your, what you have to offer. So, you're not enemies. You're certainly not making any enemies of them, but you are not. They are a lot less willing to happily promote Dr. Earthsprung's thing. And to be clear, they're not it's not as if they're on the cusp of do we write a bad thing or a good thing, or they're going to write a nice article, it seems. They've made a really good impression on her thus far, or on all of them thus far. Dr. Earthsprung has in particular, but they're not getting into rave review territory. Dr. Earthsprung and Basil, what would you guys like to be doing next at this party, if anything? I think you saw in the crowd, looks like Professor or Dr. Green is here. Sir Archie is here. Archibald Morgan is here. Professor Watson Fole is here.
want to go, Basil? Or...
Yeah, I would like to talk to Elizabeth Green. That was already a plan we had.
Okay.
So that should be something.
Sure. So you walk over, and I think Dr. Green is perhaps talking to a member of the military. You can tell from the blue uniform they're wearing when you walk over, and they see you coming, and she says, "Oh, just excuse me for a moment." She looks over and she says, "Mr. Rathbone."
Ah, Dr. Green.
I appreciate the. Please extend my thanks for the invitation from. Extend my appreciation to Dr. Ersprung for the invitation. It's a worthy endeavor and a very, very good turnout, it seems.
Yes, we are very delighted about how this went so far, and I am very pleased to see you again.
And you?
Yeah.
How has your summer been treating you?
It's all those cases, you know, all these unsolved mysteries and strange things happening, and so many of them leading back to the time of the war. It is very, very strange. Yeah.
Surely there are happier things to speak of at an event such as this, though.
Yes. There are. May I just, because I'm so curious, and you know, may I ask? So there was this 2 doctors. Adam found out he was maybe built off or made of.
There's a couple of people in the crowd who are kind of like turning over.
No. I'm not talking in character. I'm just talking to.
Oh, okay, out of character.
To you, yeah. I just wanted to know. I don't know the names of those said 2 doctors.
Dr. Ersprung, do you have those names?
Yeah, Dr. Dominic Clark and Professor Wilbur Knight. Yeah. Dr. Green, I'm curious. So 2 names came up in our business as of late. Some colleagues maybe you could know or you might have known.
Is this an interrogation,
no,
Mr. Rathbone?
It is not. It is just a simple chat about 2 names I encountered. So maybe I could just get some kind of
Again, Mr.
thing
Rathbone,
you might tell me.
I'm not sure if...
Yeah?
Are you certain that this is the appropriate venue for such a thing?
All the people keep telling me that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Perhaps you could speak to your... And she gestures out to Sally, who's at this point dancing with the Lord Vlasovich. She says, perhaps you could speak to your Miss Dumer about manners.
Yeah, so just let me, maybe I'm picturing this wrong. So this is a crowded thing and people are talking and no one can understand each other unless they're talking to each other? Or is it that everyone could talk?
Oh yeah, like there's space in here. Like you're not at an event like this, you're not cramming everyone in. So it's not like a house party or something like that. There's certainly more than enough space for everyone to speak.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, then maybe I would choose a different approach. But so maybe we could talk at a later time. So I'm so curious, you know.
She looks down at you and I just rolled a check for you. Yeah, she seems a little pissed off at you. And she says, I can't believe that there may be anything that I might be able to tell you that would satisfy your curiosity, Mr. Rathbone.
Ah. Interesting. Okay. So, yeah, if I did then that is, that is.
Well, let me tell you something you could do. So, if what you want to do is just like one thing you can do is gauge her reaction. So, like right now, you've gauged for where she is. You've tried to talk to her a little bit. She made the comment about, twice now about like maybe this. Are you sure this is the appropriate place? And she asked about interrogating. If you do want to try and get a judge from her, remember she's a member of the like secret medical whatever.
Yeah. Yes, I know.
So, if you did want to get a reaction out of her, if you did want to like float those names and see what she says, you're probably not going to get a straight answer from her, but her reaction or her expression may give you something. And that may be the best you're going to get from secret, you know, government medical doctor.
Yeah, no, I don't think, I think we will meet again at some point. I'm sorry if I have offended you. It was not my the thing I wanted to do, but you know, something is odd, and I can't really point my finger at it, and it makes me.
Sure, give us a diplomacy check. Let's see how that goes over.
Yeah, it makes me act weird. Let me put it this way.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's got to be. I mean, especially with the. This is something that, you know, mysteries are something that Basil routinely obsesses over anyway, and to find them getting more and more and more... Nat 20! So this is, you get full-on, you know, Disney rat kind of thing. Your eyes get real big, they look really sympathetic, and you just... There's this moment of vulnerability and candor that you have, where you stagger back, and perhaps this is the meeting with, like, how would you describe how Basil feels having run into Monsieur Daniel once again?
I'm not sure whether he wants me alive or dead, so I'm really, and I'm honestly concerned, because if he's here, then I'm even more sure that something really bad is going to happen here. So I think I think I'm playing this. He's really paranoid about this whole thing. It is just...
Yeah.
It's not going to end well.
Well, so that's, I think, maybe what, you know, I think even... There's a moment where you're just sort of, I don't know if honestly rat folk you sweat or not or whatnot, but you sort of like take your hat off for a moment and kind of, you know, and because you're so much shorter than what she is as a half elf, she looks down and sees the gun in your hat, and she looks down and she she takes the hat in your hands, puts it up and puts it on your head, and says, "Mr. Rathbone, when we find ourselves in a maze, there is only one thing we can do. Keep moving until we find ourselves out."
Yes. Thank you.
The circles in which you find yourselves now can be most perilous. But a clear head and a clear recognition that one can only do what one can do will allow you and your colleagues to thrive. She stands up. "I like your hat." She turns in,
thank you,
walks up into the crowd. What I'm going to say is that you've improved your... We'll treat that Nat 20 as a making an impression thing, and she's got a better impression of you now. So while she found you someone she was sparring with before, that moment of just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on and it's driving me fucking nuts, it really sort of, it seems to have spoken to her. And she's helped you conceal what could have been a bit of a flub, which is not something that an adversary would do, or even a passing, you know, acquaintance. She's helped you keep the fact that you've got a weapon, you know, concealed on you, to your benefit. So when you do meet her again, you will find her likely more amenable to talking to you. So as she makes her way off into the crowd, Dr. Earthsprung, you finally have yourself a free moment, and why don't you tell us, Ingolf, what is the expression we would say is on Basil's face right now? Because he's standing very alone. It's sort of that moment where things pass away. He's maybe like near a punch bowl or something, and there's a big crowd all around, but he's standing all alone. His hat, you know, at a jaunty angle right now. What is the expression on his face?
I think he's very reflective for a moment, thinking what's going on and why he's even here. He should be somewhere following some clue, but he has not found the clue he needs to follow.
So you can see that Basil seems to have like 1,000-yard stare, and his nose and his whiskers are twitching away in a way that you only see when he is before his conspiracy board. You know, so his mind seems to be going a mile a minute. Dr. Earthsprung, you've got a moment to perhaps catch up with him and perhaps have a little bit of relief from the incessant stream of people who are assuring you that, you know, making sure you understand precisely how much they give themselves, but that it was no big deal. They were happy to support.
Yeah, I'll sort of make a beeline through the crowd and just sort of put my arm around him, and maybe we should get some fresh air, Basil. It's quite warm in here, and sort of just lead him outside for a bit of a breather.
And I think as you're doing that too, Sally, you're finding yourself, you know, seemingly fenced in, verbally speaking, on all sides by your by these reporters. You finish filling their beverages, and you can see out of the corner, you know, not out of the corner of your eye, but like across the way, Basil and Adam or Dr. Earthsprung are making their way out to the patio to grab some fresh air. And after the less than thrilling reception that you had and the vigorous dancing, perhaps some fresh air may be just the thing.
Oh, right. Yes.
Okay.
I shall wend my way there.
Basil and Dr. Earthsprung, you step outside, and then very shortly, you know, the cool of the early evening air hits you. There's still, because it's summertime, there's a beautiful sunset that you can see stretching out before you. It's not even dark yet. There's the sound of the street below. You didn't quite realize just how loud that the band was inside that was playing, you know, or symphony. I don't know if it's not a symphony because you're not in a hall. Whatever it is, the band that's playing music inside. You were very shortly afterwards joined by Sally. So the three of you have this moment of privacy outside. And out here, unlike the inside where the people who are going back and forth and talking to one another and like, hey, you know, recognizing one another across the way, everyone out here seems to be thinking the same thing you guys are, which is a little bit of privacy. So what few groups there are out here are all sort of in their own cluster, their own grouping, talking to one another.
So have we encountered any special characters or learned anything of this evening, or seen anything to cause concern? Basil, you seem to be preoccupied.
Let me put it this way, one of the dangerous people maybe in this city is here, and that makes me very nervous.
And I'll sort of glance around as he says that, you know, just looking up at the roof and stuff, just expecting a ninja to be climbing down or something.
And the other thing is, so I was tipped a thing about our quest for the missing ship or the missing crew of the ship. So there might be something.
Yeah, that's something we need to report back to Golag on. I'm certainly interested.
We cut to him standing shirtless in his room, sweating and muttering under his breath as he stares at that shadowy portrait of himself.
Still with his card in his pocket.
Yeah, flick, 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 flick.
Yeah. That's maybe the thing I could find out. Sally, I see you made a new friend.
Indeed, he's very jolly. A bit more down to earth than some of the people here. unusual eyes. Clearly quite a strange and magical heritage. One has to wonder sometimes.
Who would invite such a character to this? Do we know? Was it just
Probably
Daphne or someone?
Yeah, it that may have been Daphne. Daphne's doing, because having a diplomat
yeah.
from the our nation that you were at war with momentarily, especially one with that big of a personality, is likely to make a bit of a splash to make it, if for no other reason, then there certainly will be one of the reasons to gossip about this event. And Daphne lives for very few other things than having people talk about her events.
Has anyone seen a member of the Knight family? I'm intrigued to meet them, because that Professor Wilbur Knight was one of the people that died just before my creation, and I wondered if they would see any resemblance if they met me, or if anything would trigger any sort of reaction from them. So I was intrigued to at least sort of thank them for coming.
I think Sally would have to ask Daphne. I mean, she would know what persons are from the Knight family. Yeah. That should be something.
Yeah, that's something I would be keen to do before forgetting and getting lost in the crowd.
Yeah.
Is there anything else anyone else we need to speak to?
Yeah, I think we need to speak to a lot of people, but I think that I somehow this is not. I'm not in the I don't know. I'm not up to my usual game to talk to people here.
Distracted
I know what.
somewhat, Basil. Maybe the hat wasn't such a good idea.
No, the hat is the only good thing.
He pulls a button on his head.
So yeah, I'm going to ask Sally if maybe Daphne could point out this member of the Knight family.
Sure. See if Sally, do you have anything you wish to share or talk to the folks about here?
No, I think I've said my piece.
Okay.
Now, frustrated dealing with journalists again.
Yeah.
I can tolerate only one journalist, it appears.
Could be that.
So I will head off then and try and find try and find these two individuals that the Doctor is so interested in.
The members of the Knight family?
Yes.
Sure.
Oh,
yeah.
yes. So.
Yeah. So I think you make your way over and find. You know what? Actually, why don't we do? I'm mindful of time here. You know what, guys? Why don't we put a pin in this? We'll return to this party in 2 weeks' time, and Golag may make a sudden appearance late appearance at the party, dressed up like a Frazetta barbarian lord, I assume. So. Because she will be able to introduce you to that, but maybe we can kick off next session with perhaps Golag's arrival, and then with Dr. Earthsprung speaking to members of the Knight family. So let's go back to the main screen here, guys, and here we go. So for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for session. Session part 6 of the Patchwork Pauper mystery. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section of the video, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where all of us are active. We have channels there dedicated to this game, this campaign, and every other campaign we run on the channel, as well as a bunch of other great channels like Finding a Group, or like information about conventions, or just general conversation about different games. You are more than welcome to join us over there. There is also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an amazing selection of new board games, card games, and role-playing games, they also have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. And if they don't have in stock what you're looking for, you can often put it on a want list, and they will send you an email when it comes in. If you enter the code THEMUSE at checkout, you will save yourself 10% on any purchase of $10 or more US. And if you're listening to this at a later date, just be sure to come back and check. If that code doesn't work for you, come back and check a new date, and then we should have a new updated code for you. It changes about every 4 or 5 months. There's also a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really amazing organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children, including ongoing relief efforts in Ukraine and the surrounding countries at the time of recording. First off, all donations that go through that link go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to the channel or any other middleman, just goes to help out the kids who benefit from their services. And as a small way of saying thank you, if you donate $10 or more since January, or have since January 1, 2023, you will have an opportunity to vote on all of the charity sessions that will be running up until the middle of the year. We have 3 sessions that we're going to be running, and so far the donors have helped vote to shape what will be our first session. We were going to play it yesterday, but due to some illness on the part of some players, we weren't able to carry forward. But we now have double the amount of players who will be playing in the next one, so there is a benefit for the delay. We'll have a bunch of players joining us for the next session, and then that one has been shaped already, but the following session will be linked to it, and donors will be able to vote on what game we'll use and what elements of the story will be, when we're going to be setting it, and how it will link to the first one as part of our year-long campaign, the Year of Ill Omens. In addition, if you donate $25, and for every $25 that is donated through that link, you get one chance to win the grand prize or one of the other great prizes in our next charity raffle. The next charity raffle will be at the end of June, and we'll have more information about the different prizes that we'll have available as we get through the year. But one of those prizes is going to be an opportunity to play a game with us. We will be one of the lucky folks who wins, maybe unlucky, depending if I include a Fang Dragon or not. We'll get a chance to play with us, and while we will not be streaming the game, it will be recorded, and there are members of the player roster who have all agreed to join in on it, so you'll get a chance to play with some of the luminaries of the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. I'll give you some options for what kind of game you want to play, so we'll really make it something special for whoever wins. I want to make that a tailored session, and you will be able to keep a link while we're not streaming it. It will be recorded, and you'll have a copy of that until YouTube, is no longer a thing. And I guess you could download it afterwards. But in any event, so that's one of the prizes, but there's other great prizes, just like every other charity raffle, great gaming stuff, some stuff from the Dungeon Musings Redbubble shop, and some great stuff donated by members of our community. That is for $25, every $25 that you donate through that link, Canadian, gives you one chance to win the grand prize. Donating only $10 gives you a chance to vote on all the charity sessions for the first half of 2023, and most importantly, gives you a chance to win some cool gaming stuff, and it also gives you a chance to help out some kids who could really use some help. The last thing I will say is a huge thank you to our stalwart illuminators for suffering through my technical issues at the start of the session. They patiently waited for 45 minutes while I fucked around with OBS to get things sorted out. So James, Ingolf, and Darren, thank you so much for both playing today and for putting up with my tech issues when we started. Thanks, guys. As always, shit ton of fun to play.
Thank you.
Yeah, good.
For those listening at home, we will be back at this soiree in Paridar in 2 weeks' time. Until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off of the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our heroes are uncovering in the, I guess the fun, near the punch bowl in the streets of Paridar. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.